Good morning. Welcome to Truth by Billie Beene. Today's date, September 10, 2025. Time in Texas, about 10 a.m. I have a subscribe button in the lower right corner of my screen. Thanks for like, subscribe, and share. And for hitting the like button, that helps my channel to grow. Well, last night we had quite the dust-up between Russia and some NATO nations. Many were speculating a possibility of Article 5 being invoked. Article 5 of the NATO agreement, an attack on one is an attack on all, so all NATO nations would respond to the nation that was attacking a single NATO nation. What happened last night? We had reports of up to 100 drones being launched by Russia across Ukraine into Poland, with some, it was reported, heading for Germany. So it appeared that Russia was attacking Poland primarily, which brought about a huge NATO response by the US, the UK, the Netherlands, the Dutch government, Romania, Poland, plus other NATO nations. So let me give you a brief summary of what happened last night. We did have also reported by New York Prepper. We had over the nuclear radio channel radio checks going on, which our military would do before they began to give new targeting information for our planes. We had President Trump. It had been reported, unconfirmed reports, that President Trump might be up in the air in a doomsday plane. That turned out to not be true. President Trump did stay in Washington, D.C. He did make a statement that what was happening over Poland was an act of war. So that did happen last night, and President Trump also said last night he was grateful for the response by other NATO nations. And we had scrambling jets, also Belarus, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, Poland, plus the UK, plus the US, and the Netherlands, the Dutch government. So last night, about 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the US, Poland put a no-TAM over Poland, no-fly area over at least eastern and northern Poland. A no-TAM, no-fly, closed its international airports, including Warsaw, Rzeszów, and so on. And also, Poland later last night was reporting intrusion, like a potential invasion of Poland from Belarus. We don't have more details on that today. It was reported last night up to 100 drones came from Russia into Poland. And we had that the hits on Poland began yesterday about 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Poland put up the no-TAM, closed some airports. The U.S. put in the air F-35s. The Netherlands put up F-35s. Poland and Romania put up Fs, and Netherlands put up F-16s. The Dutch government also put up F-35s to shoot down the drones. And we had many reports that these were not Russian drones, but they were an FF, possibly being put in the air by NATO or Ukraine factions who wanted to bring about World War III. And we have this. Yeah. We have last night the Russian Minister of Defense stating, today there will be no support from the Zelensky regime. And the Zelensky regime will pay a price. So who can interpret that with what was going on last night, which appeared to be hot, kinetic, warlike actions against a NATO nation, Poland? And then last night, about 8:30 p.m. Texas time, we had more reports of more drones, a second wave going over Poland. We had a statement by U.S. Senator Durbin that Russia was testing the U.S. resolve. We had also reports that out of Russia, 8 bombers were airborne. And that also, after this report of a second wave of drones from Russia over Poland, we had the U.S., the U.K., Netherlands, and Germany putting more planes in the air with refuelers heading toward Poland. We had in the area of Helm, Poland, reports of jets flying overhead. So last night there was panic in Poland and panic with many NATO nations. So now, we had also from New York proper the Poland Minister of Defense, this would have been last night, reporting a possible intrusion, our invasion from Belarus. Today, we can report through the eyes of ANIA K, also a Polish journalist. We received a lot of good reports from New York Prepper, who is a dual American-Polish citizen. So he gives good reports and can translate the Polish news reports. So ANIA K reports there was property damage in Poland last night from the drones. And that today, the president of Poland states, Poland will not send Polish troops into Ukraine as potential peacekeepers. We know that Macron of France has been strong on saying France would send peacekeepers into Ukraine. Well, we have confirmed reports from Monday, today's Wednesday, that the French government has collapsed, and that reports are Macron could be impeached, and that French citizens are rising in protest. Now we have this morning confirmed reports. NATO last night had an emergency meeting. It has moved to not Article 5, but Article 4, wherein NATO is holding emergency meetings, consulting. It is not moving to military action. And we have this. We also had last night jets, planes to help Poland defend itself from Slovakia and Hungary and Romania. Today, from Hal Turner's Intel site, comes this information that the drones that went over Poland last night were not armed drones, they were decoys. So that's going on. We also have President Trump today, Wednesday, September 10, responding with more military aid for Poland by President Trump sending additional B-52 bombers to Europe. They left this morning. We have Poland this morning activating its territorial defense forces. So we see what's going on is Russia last night put over Ukraine an intense large drone attack with armed drones. In front of the armed drones go unarmed drones. Now, it's my thinking, why did up to 100 of the unarmed decoy drones then go over Poland and some toward Germany? Because they're guided by GPS. Was there an attempt by Ukraine or other forces to affect the GPS targeting of these decoy drones, or even some of the actual Russian drones? We do not know. We can report, confirmed, there was an event last night in Poland where these up to 100 decoy drones went over Poland. However, Poland and NATO forces could not identify immediately. These were decoys, not armed, so they responded with force. It appears today that NATO now is talking. They're not moving toward additional military force, although the U.S. is taking additional military action by moving additional B-52 bombers to Europe. So this concludes my flash. It's good to be in prayer for America, President Trump, the U.S. military, and world peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon.